Hello and welcome. I'm very happy you are here today. In this audio, you will listen to a story called My First Public Speech. This story is told in the first person and uses simple English. It's perfect for practicing your listening skills. So, relax, listen carefully, and enjoy the story. My name is Daniel, and I will never forget the day I gave my first public speech, because it was one of the most important moments in my life, and also one of the scariest, but also one of the most exciting, and now, looking back, I can say it helped me grow in many ways, so let me tell you how it all happened from the beginning. Starting with the day my teacher told us that we would all have to give a short speech in front of the class, and I remember that my heart started beating faster as soon as I heard the words, public speech, because I had never spoken in front of many people before, and even though it was only my classmates, I still felt very nervous, so I asked my teacher what kind of speech we had to give, and she said that it could be about anything we liked, as long as we spoke for at least 3 minutes and used simple words, so I thought about what topic I could talk about. And I decided to speak about my dog Max, because I love him and I know many things about him. And I thought it would be easier to talk about something I care about, so that evening I went home and told my parents about the speech, and they were happy and said they would help me prepare, so I sat at the kitchen table with a notebook and a pen and started to write down all the things I wanted to say about Max, like how we got him, what kind of dog he is, what he likes to do, and funny things he does at home, and little by little I wrote a full page about Max, and then I practiced reading it out loud, but I realized that just reading was not enough, because I needed to speak without looking at my notes too much, so I began to memorize the important parts and said them again and again until I felt more confident, and every evening that week I practiced in front of my parents, and sometimes even in front of the mirror in my room, and I paid attention to my voice, my hands, and my face, because my teacher said body language is important when you speak in public, so I tried to smile and look confident even if I was nervous inside, and when the day of the speech arrived, I woke up feeling very anxious, and I could not eat much for breakfast because I had butterflies in my stomach, and I kept thinking about the moment I would have to stand in front of the class and talk, and when I arrived at school, I saw that some of my classmates also looked nervous, and that made me feel a little better, because I knew I was not alone, and finally, the teacher said it was time to begin. And she called the first student, and I was number 5 on the list, so I had time to listen to a few speeches before mine, and I noticed that some students spoke very softly and looked down, while others looked around the room and spoke louder, and I decided to try to be like the second group, even though I felt afraid, and when the teacher said, "Daniel, your turn," I stood up slowly, walked to the front of the class, took a deep breath, and looked at everyone, and my hands were shaking a little, but I remembered what I practiced, and I smiled and began, "Good morning, today I want to tell you about my best friend Max, who is also my dog," and I saw a few people smile, and that gave me a bit of courage, so I continued talking about how we adopted Max from the animal shelter 2 years ago, and how he was very small and scared at first, but now he is happy and playful, and I told a funny story about how he once tried to chase a squirrel but ran into a tree, and the whole class laughed, even the teacher, and that made me feel proud and less nervous, and I finished my speech by saying how much I love Max and how he makes every day better, and when I said, "Thank you," everyone clapped, and I felt a warm feeling inside, like I had done something big, and when I sat down, my best friend gave me a thumbs up and whispered, "Great job," and the teacher smiled and said I spoke clearly and had good energy. And for the rest of the day I felt like I was flying, because I had done something I thought I could not do, and I learned that being afraid is normal, but when you face your fear, you can feel very strong and proud, and after that day, I was not so afraid to speak in front of others, and in fact, I started to enjoy it, and I even joined the school's public speaking club a few weeks later, where we meet once a week to practice short speeches and give each other feedback. And now I have many new friends from the club, and we help each other improve, and we talk about Many topics, from travel to technology to our favorite foods, and every time I speak, I feel a little more confident and happy, and I know that it all started with that first speech about Max, and I am very thankful for that experience, because it showed me that I can do hard things, and that practice and preparation are very important, and that sometimes we surprise ourselves when we try something new, and now, whenever I feel afraid of something, I remember that day and how I spoke in front of the class and made people smile, and I tell myself, if I could do that, I can do this too, and that helps me stay strong and positive, and one day, I hope to give a speech in front of a big audience, maybe at a conference or even on television, and tell people about my story, and encourage them to believe in themselves, just like I learned to believe in myself. Great job! You finished listening to the story, my first public speech. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some new words. Keep practicing every day, and your English will get better and better. Thank you for listening, and see you next time. Bye for now.